Welcome everyone to Meryl Mania guitar, and stick around, especially if you've just bought a guitar or this is your first guitar lesson, because today we're going to just get a bit more familiar to the parts of the guitar, how to hold it, and how to play a few simple things to get you started. So first up, let's look at what kind of chair we need to be sitting on. We need to be ideally sitting on a chair where our feet touch the floor and they're not dangling in midair like this. And this is especially the case for children, because otherwise your guitar would just keep on slipping like this, which soon gets really annoying. And also, we don't want armrests because it'll make you look like a chicken. So when it comes to posture, it's really important that we sit up straight with our guitar upright against our body. We don't really want to be all slouchy like this, because it will literally affect the clarity of your notes, because then your left arm would have to reach around and your wrist will hurt to bend, and then you'll get a sound a bit probably like this, which sounds a bit like Pac-Man, and no one wants that. Although I do love Pac-Man. So next up, let's look at how we should be holding the guitar. So we have this curvy bit at the bottom, and this is designed to rest on our right leg, and then we'll just have the guitar straight upright, again, not slouchy or at a funny angle, but straight upright with our right forearm casually resting on the top of the body here, and then our left hand would be on the neck. Some guitar players would have the curvy bit on their left leg, and this is okay also, it's more of a classical style. But I find this is further away to reach then. So how we hold our pick is important. Sometimes it's called a plectrum though, and we need to hold it with our first finger and our thumb like this. So you can either hold it like this, or you can curl your finger around like this. Also, we don't want too much of the point of the pick showing, so you don't want to hold it on the very end like this, because then we will have less grip and we'll probably just drop it. It'll just land like under a rug or something, and then you'll lose it for 2 years. So try and tuck that in so there's less point showing. When it comes to choosing the right pick, I prefer myself a thick pick that you can't bend, and one that's not too big either, because I find if it's very bendy, it will often just flap in the wrong direction and hit other strings you don't want it to hit. And also, if it's very big, then it's hard for my hand to grip in the first place. But if you're a giant, that's probably okay. So next, let's look at what these weird boxes are on our guitar neck. So these things are called frets, and they're labelled like this. So this first one is fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, fret 4, fret 5, and so on. And they become higher pitch as we go along them on the string that you're on. For instance, and so on. So it's also important to know that we have 6 strings on our guitar, and the names of the strings are as follows: E, A, D, G, B, and E again. And you can say this rhyme to help you remember. So elephants and donkeys grow big ears. And the one nearest to my face is the lowest pitch string, and they become higher pitch as we go down the strings like this. So now I'm going to talk you through doing your first picking exercise step by step. It's going to be really useful because it actually will help get both hands in sync. It'll help us to use all our fingers, and you can apply this to all the frets and all the strings on the guitar if you wanted to extend on this exercise, and I'll show you that in a minute. So let's do it. So first up, we need to name our fingers on our left hand. So not like Dave and Gary and stuff, but more like this is finger 1, this is finger 2, finger 3, and finger 4. And we won't be labelling the thumb, that's just the thumb. It's also really important to make sure our thumb is in the correct place, and that will literally affect the clarity of your notes as well. So it's super important. So As you can see, my thumb is hanging low down on the back of the neck. It's not high up like this, it's low, and it's also pointing upwards. And there's a nice gap between the palm of my hand and the guitar neck. My thumb also definitely isn't sideways or downways like this. It really needs to be like this. If you have your thumb in this correct position, it will help picking to become so much easier, and anything that involves a bit of a finger stretch, it will help with that too. So what we're going to do now is we're going to place finger 1 on the first fret on the E string, and it's the E string that's nearest to our face, the big old fat low pitch string. So this is the spot, and I'm also going to just take my pick and pluck the same string downwards. And we would always pluck the string that we're holding, otherwise there's no point holding it. Also, we need to make sure that we're applying enough pressure to the fret and the string, because if you're not, it will sound buzzy like this. And also, if you're not holding near enough to this metal line and you're back here, it will also sound buzzy. And that's not a great guitar tone, and it sounds more like a B. So you don't want to be a B. So let's hold just before the metal line, and then our right hand will just pluck. So after picking fret 1 with finger 1, let's place finger 2 on fret 2 on the same string. There we go. And I'm just going to pluck again. If you're struggling to reach fret 2 with fret 1 still held down, you can let go of fret 1 and just move your hand up in order to reach. That's not cheating, that's totally fine, because I understand some of you might be kids and or adults with smaller hands. That's fine. I mean, I know I have massive sausage fingers, so okay, next let's go to fret 3 with finger 3. Okay, there we go. And then fret 4 with finger 4. Okay, so what we're doing here is, it's called the finger per fret method. So we're assigning a finger to each fret. So 4 fingers over 4 frets. This really is the best technique because it will help you to become like a faster guitar player in the long run. I'm not saying it's straight away. It will take time and perseverance, but eventually you'll become such a much more faster guitarist than compared to just using one finger the whole time. Also, like if you just wanted to play something like this, but upper fret, so imagine it started on fret 2, every finger would just move up a fret. So then we would have this. Or you might want to start it on fret 3. The thing is, you can play this exercise on any 4 frets. You can also play on every single string. You can even play it backwards if you want. And I do this as a warm-up backstage before I play concerts. It's really good for building finger dexterity and getting both hands in sync with each other and building speed. So that's a good thing to practice, keep you out of trouble. But next, let's go on to learning a couple of chords that are the most super common chords to learn on the guitar, which were in so many songs, so they're really worth learning. And it's going to be the E minor chord and the A chord. So first up, let's begin with the E minor chord. So what I want us to do is just take our first finger, that's the one next door to the thumb. It's like a neighbour to the thumb. And it's just gonna be placed on what's my yellow string. So that's fret 2 on the A for and string. So let's remember this is fret 1 and this is fret 2. So it's just going to be placed here. And then we're just going to take our second finger and place this on fret 2 on my blue string, which is the D for donkey string. And it's really important that when we do a chord, we keep our fingers nice and arched, because essentially what a chord is when we play more than one note at a time. So in this case, I'm going to actually strum all 6 strings for an E minor chord. So if you can imagine your fingers weren't arched, you'd be resting on the other strings and you get this sound, which isn't fun or good or anything. So let's keep those fingers nice and arched, and then our right hand will do a downstroke across every single string. So we could do 4 downstrokes Or as many as you want. I'm not actually there to stop you. I'm not going to be like, you did 8 downstrokes. So next, let's learn the A chord, and then we'll practice switching between them in a minute. So to get from the E minor chord that we were just on to the A chord, we don't have to move our hand a whole lot. We just basically move each of these 2 fingers to the next 2 strings down towards the ground, sort of below. So whoop, there we go. So they're still on fret 2. This finger is now on the blue string, which is the donkey string. And this finger is now on this orangey coloured string, which is the G string, G for grow. But we also now need to add another finger. So our 3rd finger is just going to come around also, and it's going to go on fret 2 on the B for big string. So basically we have a finger on fret 2 on donkeys, on grow, and on big. And with the A chord, we can strum this from the A string down. So I'm going to strum this from the yellow string down on my guitar. Now you might be thinking, oh, it's really hard to strum 5 out of 6 strings. Like, how do you not strum the E string? Well, here's a little secret. You could, if your hand is big enough, you could take your thumb here and lightly touch the E string. Now I know this is the opposite of picking, because with picking I made a point, didn't I, about keeping your thumb low like this. But with chords, the rules change a bit here. So this is like street guitar. It's like playing guitar on the street. So it's like against the rules. But everyone does it. Like all the rock stars do this, I promise. So if our thumb lightly touches the E string, it will mute it. But we shouldn't press with the thumb, just lightly touch at a minimum. And then now we could strum more carefree. Okay. So it's good to practice switching between E minor and A, like so. I'm going to do 4 strums on each chord. Now, if it ever isn't sounding that clear somewhere, what you could try is just hold the chord in place and pluck each string and see which string it is that's not sounding clear enough. And then you can adjust your finger accordingly to get it to sound clearer. And that might mean arching your fingers more or pressing down harder more. It might even mean bringing your wrist more forward in order to arch more as well, or adjusting the thumb slightly, because it might not suit you to have your thumb up here for an A chord. It just really depends on the size of your hands when it comes to that rule. So let's practice going from E minor to A together now, and we'll do 4 strums on each chord and we'll play it round twice. So I'll count us in. We'll do this nice and slowly because I know this is new. So starting with E minor. Okay, get ready. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. 1, 2, 3, 4. A. E minor. A. And with practice, you'll build something called muscle memory, so your fingers will get used to these movements and they'll automatically be able to do it quicker. That's with practice though. Also, you could experiment with different rhythms, down and up strums, or you could even make your own song out of just these 2 chords alone, really. So have fun with that. So all of today's music was in a format called tab, and it really is the most common format for reading guitar-based music. And I have a video in the description just down below which you can click on to teach you how to read tab, so then you can learn more stuff. So please hit that subscribe button, and here's my social media handles. So I look forward to next time. Remember, practice makes progress, and I'll see you on the flippity flop.